Hey everyone! Welcome back to our channel. I'm Anna, and, well, I'm just so happy you're here today. How are you all doing?
Hey, I'm Alex, and wow, Anna, this coffee shop is really nice. I've never been here before.
Right? I discovered it like 2 months ago, and now I come here all the time. It's become my favorite place to work and just relax?
That's awesome. Okay, so today we're going to talk about something that, honestly, a lot of my English students ask me about. And I teach English, so I hear this question like every single week.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. I was a student too, and I remember being so confused about this. Like, what even is the difference? I would just pick one and hope it was right.
Exactly. So today, we're going to break down the difference between what, which, and whose when we use them before nouns. And I promise you, by the end of this conversation, it's going to make so much sense.
I love that. I'm excited to learn more too, honestly. So let's just start. How do you usually explain this to your students?
Okay, so first, let's talk about what. This is actually the most open-ended one. When you use what before a noun, you're asking a general question. You don't know the answer. You have no idea.
So it's like you're completely in the dark?
Yes, exactly. You're completely in the dark. Okay, so here's an example. If I ask you, what food do you like? I'm asking a very open question. You could say pizza or sushi or, I don't know, donuts.
Donuts. Yes. Okay, I understand that.
Right. So the person answering can say anything. They have freedom. But here's the thing. When you use what before a noun, the noun is often not specific. It's general. Let me give you more examples.
Yes, please. I want to hear more.
What time is it? You don't know what time it is. You're asking the person to tell you the time. Any time. Could be 3 o'clock, could be 5:30. You don't know.
Oh, I use that question all the time. Like, I'm always like, what time is the movie? Or what time does the store close?
Exactly. And here's another one. What color do you want? Again, you don't know. The person could say blue or red or purple. Anything.
This is making so much sense now. So, what is like, I'm asking with no restrictions. I'm open to any answer.
100%. And here's one more. What kind of music do you listen to? You have no idea if they like rock or jazz or hip hop. You're asking openly. So what is the most general, the most open?
Okay, so what equals no idea? You're asking about anything. Got it.
Yes. And actually, here's something interesting. Sometimes people even use what before a noun when they don't need to be so open. Like I could ask you, what book did you read? But I could also say, which book did you read? And there's actually a difference there. But let me finish explaining each one first.
Oh, okay, so there's a difference between those two. That's what we're getting to next, right?
Exactly. So now let's talk about which.
Okay, so I feel like which and what might be similar.
They do seem similar, and a lot of people confuse them, but there's actually a key difference. When you use which, you're asking about something specific. You're choosing from a limited set of options.
Oh, so it's not open, it's limited?
Exactly. You've got a few choices, and you want to know which one. Let me give you an example. Let's say we're at the coffee shop right now, and they have 3 types of milk, okay? They have oat milk, almond milk, and regular milk.
Okay, yes.
If I ask you, which milk do you want? I'm asking you to choose from those 3. I'm not asking you to invent a milk or think of any milk in the world. I'm saying, here are your choices. Which one?
Wow, okay. That makes so much sense. So which is like, I already know the options and I'm asking you to pick one.
Perfect, exactly perfect. Here's another example. I have 3 bags in my closet. A red bag, a blue bag, and a black bag. If I ask you, which bag should I take?
I'm asking you to choose from those 3 bags that I just told you about.
Right. You're not asking me about any bag in the world. You're asking specifically about those 3 bags.
Yes, and here's another one that's really common. Let's say you have 2 friends, right? Sarah and Jessica. And you ask me, which friend did you have lunch with? You're asking me to choose between those 2 specific friends that you know about.
Oh, so you wouldn't ask what friend in that situation.
You could, but it would sound strange because you've already mentioned 2 specific people. So using which makes more sense. Which is much more natural there.
This is really helpful. So what is super open and general, which is specific with limited options. Got it.
Yes, and I think the best way to remember it is what is for when you have no idea what the person is talking about. Which is for when you already know some options.
Perfect. And now we have whose. Let me guess. Whose is about ownership?
Yes, you're going to be my best student today.
I'm ready.
Okay, so whose is different. Whose is about possession. Who owns something? Who does something belong to? It's asking about the owner.
Okay, so if I want to know who owns something, I use whose.
Yes. For example, whose phone is this? I'm asking, who does this phone belong to? Who is the owner?
Oh, I use that all the time when I lose something. Like, whose keys are these? I'm asking who the owner is.
Exactly. And here's another one. Let's say we're in a classroom. There are notebooks on the desk. I could ask, whose notebook is this? I want to know who the notebook belongs to.
Right, so whose is about belonging, possession.
Exactly. And here's something interesting. Whose looks like it could be a contraction, right? Like whose, which is who is, but it's not. It's completely different.
Oh, that's confusing.
I know. A lot of students get confused by that. Whose is who is, but whose means who does it belong to. So if I ask you, whose car is that? I'm asking, who does that car belong to?
But if I ask, who's in the car, that's different, right?
Yes. Who is in the car? 2 completely different questions. One is about possession. One is about who is inside.
Wow. Okay, so whose is definitely about ownership. Got it.
And here are a few more examples. Whose dog is barking? You want to know who owns the dog. Whose shoes are those? Who do the shoes belong to? Whose birthday is it today? Whose, meaning who is having a birthday.
Oh, that last one is interesting because it's not like a physical object. It's still about who?
Exactly. Whose is not always about things you can hold. It can also be about people, like whose sister is she, or whose birthday, or whose idea was this. You're asking who it relates to or who it belongs to.
That's really helpful. Okay, so we've covered all 3. Let me see if I can explain them back to you. So what is super open? You don't know anything, you're asking in general. Which is when you have some choices already and you want to pick one. And whose is about who owns it or who does it belong to.
Perfect. You got it.
I did. Okay, so can you do like some real life examples? Because I feel like that really helps me learn.
Oh, absolutely. Let's do it. So let's imagine you're shopping for a new dress and you go to the store with your mom, right?
Okay, yes.
Your mom might ask you, what dress do you like? She's asking super openly. You could point to any dress in the store. You could say, I like the blue one, or I like the red one, or even, I don't know, let me see more.
Right, she's not limiting me.
Exactly. But then, let's say you're in the dressing room and you come out wearing 2 dresses, 2 specific dresses. Your mom might ask, which dress should you buy, the blue one or the red one?
Oh, so now she's asking me to choose between two specific ones that she can see.
Yes, the situation changed. Now you have limited options, so you use which.
Okay. I like this example. And then what about whose?
Great question. So let's say you're at the store and you see a beautiful scarf and you ask your mom, "Whose scarf is this?" And she says, "Oh, that's your sister's scarf. She brought it to the store."
Okay, so you're asking who owns it? Who is it for?
Exactly. Whose is about ownership or who it belongs to.
This is so clear now. Oh my God.
Right? So once you understand the basic difference, it becomes so easy. What is open, which is limited choices, whose is about ownership.
I just realized something. Can you sometimes use which when you could use what? Like, are they ever interchangeable?
That's such a good question. In some situations, yes, but it changes the meaning a little bit.
How?
Okay, so let's say you asked me, what color dress did you wear to the party? You're asking just openly, any color, no restrictions.
Right.
But if you ask, which color dress did you wear to the party? It sounds like maybe you already know I wore a dress, or maybe you're implying that you saw several dresses and you're asking which one I picked.
Oh, so it changes the feeling of the question?
A little bit, yes. It's more subtle, but which often sounds more specific. What sounds more open.
Interesting. So in real life, do native speakers really make this distinction every time?
That's honest. No, not always. Some native speakers are a little sloppy with it, but it's still important to know the difference, especially when you're learning, because using the correct one shows that you really understand English.
That makes sense. Okay, so I should use which when I have limited options.
Yes.
And what when I'm asking broadly?
Yes.
And whose when I want to know who owns something?
Perfect.
Okay, so what are some common mistakes that people make with these words?
Oh man, I have so many examples from my students. First, people often use what when they should use which.
How?
For example, a student will ask me, "What book did you read? The red one or the blue one?" And I'm like, "Well, you just told me there are two books, so you should ask, which book?"
Oh, because you already mentioned specific books.
Exactly. So that's mistake number one. Now, the second mistake is people sometimes use which when they should use what. And they sound, I don't know, too formal or weird.
Weird how?
Like, if I ask you, which job do you want? It sounds strange because I'm not giving you specific job options. But if I ask, what job do you want? It sounds much more natural.
Right. Which implies that there are specific options, right?
Exactly. And the third common mistake? People confuse whose with whose all the time.
Oh, because they sound the same.
Yes, whose is who is. Whose is possession. So if I write, whose car is this? That's wrong. It should be, whose car is this?
And whose is this car doesn't make sense at all.
Right, it would be, who is car is this, which is gibberish.
Okay, so let me just recap the mistakes. Use which when you have specific limited options. Use what when you're asking openly. Use whose for possession. And whose, not whose.
Yes, 100%.
Can we do a fun quiz or something? Like you give me a sentence and I say which word should go there? Oh, I love that. Okay, ready? Ready, let's do it.
Okay, first one. Blank shoes are those.
Whose shoes are those? Because we're asking who owns them.
Correct. Next one. Blank color do you prefer, blue or red?
Which color? because there are two specific colors.
Yes, perfect. Okay, harder one. Blank kind of music do you listen to?
What kind of music? Because I'm asking openly. You could like any kind of music.
Exactly correct. Okay, one more. Blank pen is yours.
Which pen? Wait, no. Whose pen is yours? Because I'm asking who owns it.
Yes, whose pen is yours? That's perfect.
Oh my God, I'm actually understanding this.
You know, I was teaching this last week, and I had a really funny moment with a student.
Oh, tell me, I love stories.
Okay, so I had a student who kept confusing whose and whose, and I tried to explain it so many times. So finally, I said, think about it this way. Whose sounds like who is blank, or who owns blank. Your turn. Make a sentence.
Okay, what did they say?
They said, whose is the best student? And I was like, no, that would be who is the best student. See, who is becomes whose.
Oh no.
But they finally got it. And the next day they came up to me and they were like, teacher, I finally understand. Whose is a question about ownership and whose is just asking who is here. And I was so proud.
That's so cute. I have a story too, actually. One time I was texting my friend and I asked her, what shoes should I wear to the party? And she was like, how am I supposed to know what shoes you own? And I was like, oh my God, I should have asked which shoes because I was asking her to choose between the shoes I already own. Yes, that's exactly the right example. I didn't even know I was doing it wrong at the time. I was just texting, but now I realize that which would have been so much clearer.
That's actually the perfect example of how this works in real life. And your friend understood you anyway, which is the important thing. But if you want to be more precise with English, which is better there?
Right. Okay, so let me try some more examples from my own life. What about whose idea was that?
Perfect. That's a whose question. You want to know who came up with the idea.
What about what ideas do you have for the party?
That's a what question. You're asking openly for ideas.
And if I said, which idea should we choose? Your idea or my idea?
That's which, because you're asking someone to choose between two specific ideas.
Oh, I'm getting so good at this.
You really are. I mean it. You understand this better than some of my students who've been learning English for years.
Aw, stop. But honestly, I think the key is just thinking about whether you have options already or not.
Yes, that's the key insight right there. What means you don't have options yet. Which means you already have some options. Whose means who owns it.
Okay, but what about, really tricky situations? Are there times when it's hard to know which one to use?
Actually, yes, there are some situations that are a little bit tricky.
Tell me, I want to know.
Okay, so think about this. If I ask you, what movies do you like? I'm asking openly. You could say any movie, horror, comedy, drama, anything.
Right.
But what if I ask, what movies did you watch this weekend? I'm asking about movies that you specifically watched, but I don't know what movies those are. So it's still kind of what, right?
But if I said, which movies did you watch? The ones I recommended or the ones you found yourself? Then it's which.
Exactly. So in that situation, it depends on how much information you have. If you have some specific options, use which. If not, use what.
Okay, so it's about context.
Yes, context is so important. And honestly, this is where native speakers sometimes get a little informal too. Some people would say which movies in the first situation, and some would say what movies, and both would sound okay to them.
But if I'm learning, I should be more careful?
If you're learning, yes, be more careful. Use which when you have specific options. Use what when you're asking openly.
Okay, and whose is pretty clear, right? Because it's always about possession or ownership?
Yes, whose is the easiest one, honestly. It's always about who owns something or who it belongs to.
Great. What if someone asks me, whose turn is it? Like, who gets to go next?
That's still whose, because it's asking whose turn, meaning whose, who is it? It's still about possession in a way. It's like whose turn belongs to them.
Oh, so it's not just physical things, it can be like abstract things too.
Exactly. Whose turn, whose birthday, whose fault. All of these are whose because they're asking who does this belong to? Who is responsible?
This is making so much sense. I feel like I could teach this to someone now. You could. You really could. Okay, so before we wrap up, do you have any final tips for anyone watching this who still feels confused?
Yes, I do. I think the most important thing is to practice. Like, just use these words and pay attention to when you use them.
That's a good tip.
And also, don't stress too much. Even if you use the wrong one, sometimes people will understand you. English speakers will understand. It's not like a catastrophe.
Right. It's not like you won't be understood.
Exactly. But if you want to sound more natural and more accurate, just remember the 3 key differences.
What is open? Which is limited? Whose is possession?
Perfect summary. And oh, one more thing. Pay attention to native speakers. When you watch TV shows or listen to podcasts, listen to how they use these words. You'll start to notice patterns.
That's such a good tip. Like immersion.
Yes, immersion is so helpful.
Okay, so one last thing. Can you make a quick sentence using all 3 words?
Oh, that's fun. Let me see. I don't know what color you want, but which color is yours, and whose favorite color is it anyway?
That's so good. Okay, I can try. What kind of movie do you want to watch? Which movie is yours to choose? And whose idea was this anyway?
Perfect. See? You're a natural at this.
Okay, everyone, I hope this conversation was helpful. I know I learned so much, and I hope you did too.
Yes, and remember, what is open in general, which is specific choices, whose is about ownership.
Simple. Just remember that, and you'll be great.
And please let us know in the comments, did this help you understand what, which, and whose, or do you still have questions?
We love reading your comments, and we might answer your questions in the next video.
Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.
Bye, everyone.